welcome to the Arc de Triomphe du Carousel. So I know it's confusing. It looks smaller than you expected, right? It's because it's not the same one. There's actually a number of arches here in Paris. So this one, the Arc de Triomphe du Carousel, is a smaller version of the Arc de Triomphe. What happened was that Napoleon won the War of Austerlitz, and he wanted to victoriously march through an arch and be celebrated. This was custom in Italy, and he loved all things Italian and really wanted to bring that kind of tradition into France. And because there was not enough time to complete the other arch for him, they went ahead and did this pop-up store version of the arch so that they were able to give him the proper celebration that he wanted and deserved. It was a good war. So when he had this design, he was thinking of Rome. So the base of it is actually Roman. It's a copy of a Roman arch. But the top actually has some horses on it. The horses he actually took from Venice, and they weren't very happy about that. So eventually he needed to return those, and they made copies and put copies up there. So it is exact replica. If you are going to Venice, you'll see that same statues. So this actually, it's actually really an architectural marvel, because this arch lines up all the way at the end of the Tullerie Gardens and past Champs-Élysées, and it's a bit of a walk. You've got a good half-hour walk from here to there, but you will actually get to the Arc de Triomphe if you keep following this in the straight direction. As you pass Champs-Élysées, remember that it was extremely chic in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Nowadays, you're going to see a lot of American stores, and it's not quite as exciting as it used to be, but it's still nice to see. It's even better to see at night when it's all lit up and pretty, but there is still Louis Vuitton, so there's, and you know, Tiffany's, Cartier. So there's some really nice stuff besides the Disney store and Quicksilver, because who doesn't need a Disney Paris shirt even if you didn't make it there. So anyway, the Arc de Triomphe has a stairs for you to go all the way up to the top, and it has a fantastic view. So definitely check that out. It's really, really beautiful. It's worth the steps. It's not as many as the Eiffel Tower, so you'll be okay. But whatever you do not run across the street to the arch. You're going to look in for a crosswalk. There is no crosswalk. What the trick is that there's tunnels. So there's different entrances you'll see along the streets that'll point you to the stairs that'll take you down and over to those tunnels. It's actually quite a dangerous roundabout, and if you are a driver in Paris, they will ask you if you plan to use that, because if you use that on a regular basis, they actually charge you more on your insurance. So be careful and enjoy your trip, okay? So let's see. If you go even further on the same line, you'll run into the Grand Arch. The Grand Arch is in La Défense. It's not something that you can see really easily from here, but I'm sure you've seen it in your guidebooks, and it's really interesting as well. Again, it's a third arch in line with the other arches, and this is actually in what we call the financial district of Paris. So as a tourist, it may not be the most interesting place to go, except there is some really interesting street art over there, and I'm always really interested in that. So if you want to learn more about that, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's see. Now, back to where we are right now. This is actually what we consider the entrance of the Tullerie Gardens. The Tullerie Gardens got their name from the fact that this is where the Palace of Tullerie stood originally before we went to war with the Russians, and the Russians got upset and burnt it down. So, lesson to be learned here, do not build your palace out of wood. It will probably burn very easily. Well, we figured that one out. So this actually was a private garden originally, and they would actually go hunting here. There was a menagerie of animals. It was really quite beautiful and spectacular. It then became an open space, an open park, and the largest park in Paris for quite some time. And it, as you can tell, is a wonderful place to come and bring a picnic and enjoy. So do take advantage of these gardens. If you like these gardens, which are fantastic, there's a couple of cafes. You can have a nice little glass of rosé or water, whatever is your preference. We do offer another tour that goes 9 o'clock every morning, except for Monday, to the Palace of Versailles. And those gardens are pretty fantastic. So if you can get out, if you have enough time in Paris to see other things, go to Versailles. Again, this is a chateau. It's really special, really beautiful, and we have a lot of really cool stories, secrets, and love stories, and all kinds of cool history. You get a real understanding of what was going on with the wars and why they happened. You know, how the March of the Women went, the bread wars that started the whole French Revolution, and Marie Antoinette and all the Louis and everybody that's lived there. It's really, really fascinating. So we're going to go ahead and get going to our next stop, and let's take off.